Hello folks, and welcome back on my next adventure. Today we're up in the vicinity of the Bridge of Orchy. The last time I was here it was very different than this. It was pretty wintry. I remember the snow was fading, but there was still white on the tops, and I got to play with my crampons and stuff. We're out for a bit of an overnight camp. We're going to take in a couple of Corbetts on the way to our campsite for this evening. The first Corbett is here on your right, and it's called Beinn Mhanach, which means something along the lines of Hill of the Castle. And if you look up at the crags, it does look very well fortified from this side. So that's going to be the first Corbett of today. There'll be another one, then we'll descend down near Loch Lyon or Loch Lyon, never sure which way to pronounce it. And that's going to be our campsite for the night. Before we start with some proper uphill though, I fancy a seat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so we're going to grab a seat, grab some water, and then we're going to plough on up the hill. Well, that's been quite a steep bit of hill we've had to walk up. I mentioned that this first hill of the day is a Corbett, but I never mentioned what a Corbett is. Some of you probably know, but for those that don't, a Corbett is a hill over 2,500 feet, and with an important extra requirement that Munros don't have, of having 150 metres of prominence, which is about 500 feet. The thing with Corbetts though, is that they are less popular. So quite often you'll find that the routes up them are pathless, and that's what we've found today.
Yeah.
We've stopped here because this is the first time we've had a view back down to Loch Lyon, and it's looking quite low actually.
Oh yeah.
We've not had rain here for the last couple of weeks, or at least nothing significant. And you can see that in the stream that we were following, which really was just a gully, an empty, waterless gully. Anyway, we're going to cool down a bit, then we'll set off for the summit. So here we are at the summit of Beinn Chaisteil. We're at 884 metres here, and as you can see, I'm sitting on a very unassuming cairn. I mentioned that Corbetts aren't visited as often as Munros, and that shows with these smaller but much nicer summit cairns. This is just the first summit that we're going to be hitting today. We've got another Corbett over there to go to, and a big drop in between. So we're not going to linger here too long. We're going to make a move. So we're now at what can probably be called the low point of today. It's not the lowest point that we're going to be at all day altitude wise, because we've got to descend down to find our camp. However, behind us you can see the first hill that we've been up, and then if I spin around and try not to hit Leon in the face with the camera, you can see the next hill that we're going to go up. We've come down 300 metres and we need to go back up another 250. It's 250 metres up and it's about half a kilometre away. So that is a fair old steep hill that we have to go back up. I think I'm going to put you in front to pick a route up there.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see you from somewhere up on the hill. Oh, I thought that downhill was going to go on forever. As you may have seen at the top, it started to rain, so we didn't linger very long. We just touched the top and passed on by. We stopped briefly to put our waterproofs on. Thankfully, it blew through quite quickly. So I'm more or less dry here.
Yeah, same.
We're down to 4x4 track, and we need to find somewhere to camp. And there's also some interesting engineering being going on here, but I'll probably take the camera for a wander around that in a little bit. First of all, what do we need to do?
Set up camp.
I'm starving.
Same.
It's nearly 8 o'clock at night. It's definitely time for dinner.
Yeah.
Right, let's find somewhere to put a tent.
Yeah.
So we found a nice flat bit of land to get the tent set up, and then the midges came out slightly in force, so we had to run around a little bit in circles to confuse them so we could get all the bits and pieces inside the tent. The wind's picked up a little bit now, which means the midges have all gone away, so we might not be trapped indoors for the whole evening. We'll just have to wait and see. But I hope you didn't want to see us setting the tent up, because Leon's in there making the beds and getting everything sorted. As you can see, we've got the copper spur again. It's the, it turns out it's perfect for me and Leon. So we are going to be enjoying that. We've got both doors rolled as wide open as they can get. So we're getting the breeze and getting the full outdoor experience. Anyway, I need to go and make some dinner now. So today we've decided to go for 2 firepot meals. Not for any reason other than it's what the shop we stopped at on the way here had. So Leon's got the orzo pasta bolognese, I've got the spicy pork noodles, which I've had before, and we will see how we get on with these. Hey folks, well that's us all fed and watered for the evening and snuggled up into the tent. The firepot meals were rather tasty, weren't they?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As usual, we've been lying here listening to a podcast, and Leon's been playing games on his phone. We've had some chocolate. You've had hot chocolate. You're all you must be on a chocolate high at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've had hot chocolate, and I've had chocolate and a cup of decaf tea. It's 10:30 at night now, and it's still really bright outside. So I'm going to put a blindfold on so I don't have to be kept awake with the daylight and try and get some good sleep. So we will see you in the morning. Good night.
Night.
Good morning, folks. What a lovely morning it is. The sun is absolutely beaming down. It's about 7:30 now. I've been awake since a little before 7. I was probably dozing from about 5 in the morning actually. I don't know if it actually got dark last night, not really. We didn't need torches or anything. You can see how much sun we've got. Skies are blue with just some broken cloud in them. It's definitely going to be a day to keep topped up with the sun cream. I've got all my stuff packed up. Leon's packing his up just now. So while he does that, I'm going to get our breakfast on. Well, we squashed the ground pretty flat, but it's still a great example of leave no trace. A couple of days when that springs back up, there'll be no evidence we were ever here. There we are, up on the summit of Beinn Mhanach. This is the only Munro for this trip. The third summit of the weekend, but the only Munro. So Beinn Mhanach is 953 metres high and means Hill of the Monk. I've no idea why. I guess it's in a pretty remote part of Scotland. There's a fair old distance to come in here, so I guess if you were inclined for a bit of solitude, this would be a good place to come. We've pulled on our fleeces. Although it's a really warm day, it was, how warm was it down at the bottom?
Wasn't it something like 19? 19
degrees down at the bottom. And the breeze up here is definitely welcome. That's why, although it's meant we've had to pull our fleeces on. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's quite a spectacular view down the glen. We've got Beinn Mhanach at the right, and then we've got yesterday's Corbetts of Beinn Fuaran and the taller Beinn Chaisteil on the left. The glen leads all the way back down to that viaduct, and that's the route we're going to be taking later on. One of the most notable things about this trip has been the complete lack of paths we've been following.
Yeah.
How much of the time do you think we've been following paths?
None of it.
No. Followed a path pretty much since we started going up the first Corbett. We've been pathless the entire way. We're now down off of all the hills. We've done the 4 hills for this trip, and we're about to more than make up, I think, for the pathless nature of the journey. We've joined on to the top of a Land Rover track, and that's going to take us all the way down the glen. Come on then. There we have the first hill from yesterday, the first Corbett we went up, Beinn Chaisteil. And from this angle, that we've not seen this angle before, and from this angle it's definitely looking even more impenetrable than the side we walked up. I think it's a very well named hill. Okay folks, we are pretty close to the car now, where I think we've just got another couple of kilometres to go, and I thought this was too good a place, too beautiful a location to not use to wrap up the video. We've had, well, I've had a good couple of days. How have your days been?
Yeah, been amazing.
Yeah, so we've both had a couple of amazing days. The temperature is unbelievable. According to my watch, it's saying that we're at 24 degrees. I think that might be a little bit high, but we're certainly somewhere in the low 20s. I've got to be honest, it's taken quite a lot of effort to not just go and sit in this pools of cool water that are flowing by.
Yeah.
Knowing that I need to drive home and I don't have anything dry in the car is all that's preventing me. Anyway, as always, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe so you get to see the next one, and yeah, one or more of us will be back for the next adventure. Bye for now.
Bye.
Go on then, before I do jump in.
Yeah.